Hello and a warm welcome back to the Cavalier project. First of all, I'd like to say a really big thanks. I'm absolutely blown away by all the responses I've had, and the results were pretty, carry on as I am, which is what I'm really pleased to hear, to be honest, because that's kind of what I really wanted to do. I wanted to show every single step on this car. And I know it becomes quite monotonous work, but it is monotonous work, and it's probably a bit monotonous to watch. So yeah, we're going to carry on doing what we're doing. Today is forecast a little bit showery, so I'm not going to get all of my equipment out. We are going to start on this arch here, hopefully, which you probably can't see. I'm going to just use my angle grinder with the wheel attachment and see what's going on in this little bit of archway here. I've got a new arch to put in. The outer arch doesn't really need it, but it does need a new inner arch, which I intend on putting in, which I probably talked about in the last video. And if you excuse me a moment, I want to say thanks to Noel Wallace, I believe your name is, Noel Wallace 5257. He suggested I use U-Pole Weld Through Primer. This is the zinc version. He said it's best to use the copper version because it has more sort of anti-rust properties to it. So I bought 4 tins of this, of the zinc version. I was using the MIPA stuff. It was zinc rich, like primer, and I thought it was basically the same stuff, but his recommendation is to use this. I want this car to survive the next however many years, so I'm going to be using that. Not sponsored by these, obviously, just something that I've bought myself. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with this. So admittedly, this is not the best angle to be showing this, but it's quite tight here on this. If I take the door off, I've got the window open at the moment, and I just really want to clean this up for the time being. You can see that you've got the seam here. So this has been replaced before, as I said. You could just about see the weld marks here, where you probably can't, but I can with the naked eye, and that goes across here. It looks like they've potentially gone over the top again, but that's not a problem. So we're just going to tidy all this up, see what needs patching in on this section here, and then try and cut this out as best we can. I'm not going to cut all of this out, although we've got quite a bit of panel that we can use. I'm just going to I'll try and cut at the least on the old seam line, I think. And about 12 videos later, hopefully we'll have this done. That's a joke, by the way. Anyway, let's clean this up. Okay, so that's cleaned up. We've got a little bit of a hole down here, and I think the new panel would potentially take this part in. I'm not too sure if it does. I don't know if it comes out that far. I think it does, because it does have a little bit of the sill section here. Now this sill section to me is it's overlaps just here, so we will be cutting this out. So this is just a basic panel that I think someone's made. Done a pretty good job of it, to be fair, but what I don't like is it's over the top of this one here, so I suspect that when we take this out there will actually be the old sill right behind it. Now I can feel the welds where my fingers are, so it's just literally a little cover plate that someone's put over this. Which is fine. So what I'm going to do, I weren't anticipating jacking this up today, but what I am going to do is I'm going to get my ramps and reverse the car onto the ramps just to give us a bit of it might not be a good idea, because I think I might be backing myself into a corner because the ramps will stick out a little bit potentially. Yeah, that I might get the ramps. I'll see. I'll decide in a minute what I'm going to do. Because all I really want to do is just clean this up down here, and then hopefully cut this out. And we'll offer up the new panel with this old one here. So what I'd like to do is offer up the new panel to this one. I do need to cut this bit here and get that. I think it'll just curve inwards really like that, but I'm not too sure how far to push it yet, but we'll worry about that in a moment. There's quite a lot of filler on this, so I don't know whether just to grind down or wire wheel down this whole panel before I cut, or whether just to cut it. I want to try and follow the line of you can see the old welds. That's just a filler that's shrunk back because it is quite thick in places. I mean, there was a big chunk that come off down here where this hole is. So yeah, I might actually wire wheel this off actually, and then we'll offer up the new panel. I'm going to draw around the new panel and make sure that we don't, well, just to give us an idea of how much we can actually cut out. I really don't want to cut out too much of this because I don't think there's any need to. This is actually pretty sound metal, or it seems to be at the moment. It depends what we find. It does look like they have gone over the old arch potentially, so it's a good thing we're cutting this out really. So yeah, let's get on with it. So there's evidence here of this wheel arch being stuck over the old one, especially when you look just here. You can see there's evidence of this is quite proud of this original seam here. So that is literally a good millimetre. I don't know if you could see that. I barely see the screen myself because it's got so much dust on it. But there, I don't know if you can see that just there. All this bubbling here, it looked much worse than what it actually is, I think. You can see it has gone through. This is part of the inner arch here, I think. So we're repairing that anyway, so that's not really a big problem. This, I think we're just gonna have to redo this part here. We'll have to, when we cut this out, we'll see how it's made up. And also just off camera there, we've got this little bit of section here. So first of all, I'm going to get the I'm going to get the arch and see if I can lay this flat, and then we'll draw around it, I think. of a clicky tap it there, but it's not been started for a few months. That'll come around. They always seem to move. Close enough, I think. Oh no, I scratched the paintwork. So that's the maximum cut line drawn in place badly in some areas. This bit, it actually overlaps this bit here, but I'm hoping to just match it up to this seam line anyway and continue that seam line down here. I think we're gonna have to cut this out but remake all this section here. That's fine, I'm not got a problem with that. You can see that the bottom of that arch panel doesn't include this bit here, so we've got to repair that anyway. I am going to continue cutting that bit of the sill off because I do honestly think that that's been put on over the existing sill. Well, let's get the grinder out. So there's our inner sill panel. I was kind of right in saying they did overlap it. They didn't overlap all of it. We could have, I don't know if this would have been worth saving or not, to be honest, but they've certainly gone over it. They've gone, yeah, I mean, you can see there's a couple of different layers there of previous repairs towards this end here. And you can see where the original original sill was come along here. So we're going to try and, I'll probably try and take this out if I can, and then see how it actually lined up and see if we can make it as original as possible. We've got to remake this bit here anyway. Yeah, so that's had a inner sill repair done before, midsection, sill midsection, whatever you want to call it. That's been bodged in quite nicely. It's not too bad because you can't see it anyway. Got a bit of the original sill there. This is obviously new, what someone's put in. That's fair enough. If I'm honest with you, it's pretty much what I was expecting. It's a shame that they didn't put any red oxide or any protection in here. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about this inner seal at the moment. It looks like they've just put they've folded this little bit of, or folded this little bit of metal in here and put a flange on it and put it in there. I don't know, can't quite see myself. Yeah, so I don't know if you could quite see that in there. You could just about see how this section here folds upwards and then it meets like the inner floor there. I don't think it should have done that. I think this continued down and met up with this bottom of this sill section here to give strength to the jacking points, I think, and to give strength to the inner boot of not inner boot, to give strength of the inner section of the car here, or certainly this door, around this door here. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this. I mean, it could be left. It's been repaired before like that. I'm certainly not happy with it being rusting away like that. Might end up cutting this out and actually remaking this. I'm not too sure yet, but we're here for the arch section, so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to continue on with. I just wanted to do some investigative work here. The arch panel does come with this little bit just here, so we could probably put that in. We need to repair this section here and all of this here anyway, so yeah, we could probably start cutting this out and seeing how the inner section comes in, because the inner arch may well, we need to know what's going on with that before we make all this lot up. So let's get on with that. It looks pretty good on the front, but on the rear there, it really is something to admire. Well, that gives us access now to this inner arch panel, and we can decide how much of this we're going to repair, or how much the new arch is going to take up. I've got a feeling though that we will be making some of these bits, or remaking some of these. I've got a bit of a support bit that comes down here, meets up with this. I'm going to disturb it too much because we need to keep some of this in to get an idea of how it all goes back together. But this shouldn't be too difficult to make up, hopefully. Join this line up here. In actual fact, I'm going to go up to there because that's exactly where I want to come to with the new panel anyway. This bit is all going to be saved anyway, or this bit here. This I might just replace, that little section just here. Definitely that needs coming out. But yeah, we can, where I've got this line, we could probably cut that bit out. That is part of the panel anyway, so that's good news. We just need to remake this bottom bit here and remember how that all goes together. There's been some patches been put in here already. Yeah, this arch panel here, it's not too bad by the looks of it, but I think we're gonna have to remake this little bit. I don't think the rust goes in too far, as you could just about see there. I mean, that looks pretty bad there, but that's because there's been a patch already been put over it just here. Oh, there's some bits for us to be getting on with anyway. I might get my wire wheel and just clean this up. I mean, in actual fact, I might get the... Oh, thank you, Poppet. In actual fact, I might just get the inner arch and then put that on here and then draw around it and then see how far we need to go in. So I've just grabbed me inner arch panel, and the good news is it looks like it's going to take up an awful lot of this that needs replacing anyway, including the bit that I made down here. Not all of this bit, but certainly the that little section there where it actually bends round, so that's handy. You can see where it's supposed to go. I'm going to try and squeeze this up in here, but I've got a couple of little bits. We've got to cut this bit out anyway, so I may well cut that out and then place it in on top, because it looks like we've got a lot of this already made, so I'm not going to actually have to make a lot of this. I thought I was going to have to make it because I thought these were a lot thinner than what they were, or a lot less material around the actual arches here than what there actually is. So I suppose I could tuck it inside there maybe, give us a rough idea. It's not going to quite fit very well, but it gives us an idea of where we need to go. I mean, like I say, I don't want to cut a lot of this out, because otherwise we've got to cut all the way out up to here, which is why they give you all this extra panel here on the new outer arch. But fortunately we ain't going to need all of this bit, so we could cut the majority of this out, probably a maximum up to here, especially here. Let's get that on the inside there. This is, no, that's not going to quite go in there, is it? Trying to make a panel fit where it's supposed to go. But I think we've got a general idea on what I need to do. Is just draw around where I need to cut, or certainly the maximum area that I need to cut, and then we can cut this bit out here, I think, and go from there. It's not looking, it looks really bad, but looking at it and thinking about it, it looks worse than what it actually is. I think we could soon make some decent ground with this. That's what I'm trying to convince myself anyway. Now, as long as I stay on the inside of that line, we should be good, because I don't want to cut out way too much than what I'll need to. This section here I'll be cutting out from the front here anyway, so it might be worth me actually cutting this out. I know I've probably said this like a million times over, but it might be worth me cutting this out here and trying to put this arch over this instead of underneath it. It might get a better idea of how it's going to fit. I think that might be the way forward. If I'm honest, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about this bit yet. I may land up cutting this bit out and trying, I mean, that looks like it might have originally come into here somehow. not too sure. It's obviously a support, a little bit of support for something up here. Probably it's probably to do with the seatbelt mount, to be fair, this bit. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. But that don't look too bad at all, if I'm honest. So I've been having a little bit of a think of how I'm going to move forward with this. I've got this line that I've drawn inside the arch here. That gives us our, well, we'll take a few mil off it, because the last thing I want to do is cut way too much off, because we did draw it inside of the arch rather than being on the outside, so it's probably massively off because it didn't fit very well. But it gives us a kind of a guide, I think. As long as we keep well within, we should be good. So what I think I might do is cut the actual worst of the rot out, pull it back in and see where we are again in a little bit, because we don't actually have to take all of this out here. What I'm hoping to do is get it cut in so it's just about right, and then we can always recut it and weld it as we go along, I think. Still not too sure what I'm going to do about this here. I'm not too sure how it fits in. It obviously follows the curvature of this panel here, so it must join in with the inner arch somehow originally. I don't think it was ever joined in the first place anyway. I think the way forward, we're going to have to jack the car up and take this wheel off. I'm not going to do that today though. For you it will be the same video, but for me, I'm getting to the point where I think this is a pretty high point. We've got this arch. It fits in. It's not a bad fit. It's a pretty good high point for us to finish off on for today. This bit down here is quite poorly fitting because of where I've made the panel here, but I've got it roughly. It's not too bad. It's not too out of shape to what it should be, so it just needs cutting back a little bit and we can meet the two up, I think. Although I could probably just bring this forward, because that obviously is part of the arch there, but that doesn't seem right to me. I think this needs to go to the back more. I'm not 100% sure how that goes yet. If I'm honest, I might have to play about with it a bit more. I've got the original here that I could potentially look at. You can feel where the two arches are met in here anyway, but we haven't got this bottom section here because it's simply gone. Yeah, bit more thinking to do, and I can do that off camera so you guys don't get bored, and then I'll give you my plan hopefully in the next clip. So you would have seen me just cut this arch out. I'll probably, in all honesty, cut out a little bit too much. I thought it might have been easier to get the new one in. I mean, you can see in places like here, there is a little bit of rust. So maybe it was the right thing. So cutting this out and grinding, or well, cleaning back some of this metal here, you'll see that there's been some interesting repairs. This little bit here, I wanted to try and retain this, because this this bit of circle here that you can see, this is actually original inner arch, if you like, and then just behind it is the original inner sill section. So these two would have met up. They would have had a hole drilled through them. This is the original inspection hole, or hole for injecting like your cavity wax, that sort of thing. Repair panel here, as you can see. This I'm going to try and cut out and do a little bit of a better job, try and retain. I'm not too sure how they've welded this on this side here. I can't actually fit it. It feels like it goes in quite a way. They've just folded it round, so I'll have to do a bit more of an inspection on that, I think. Here is about three layers metal thick again. So you've got the inner, this here, just, well, you can't quite see. So this here is the original inner sill section, and that would have come up to here, and I think it would have folded round and formed, and then was welded on to this section here, and then that's how those two met and connected to each other. I'm not too sure what this is, to be honest. I'm not too sure if that's original or I think it is. I think that's part of the seam, probably inner seam from this inner arch tub, I believe. There is a cut line there. That's not mine. That's obviously an old one from previous repairs. As I said before in the last section, this is just a bodge repair. This really should come down and meet up with this bottom of this inner sill section, sorry, here. That should come right down, following the contours, and meet up with the bottom of the sill. As you can see further down, just there, you can just about see there how it would have met up, although some of it's gone a little bit rusty now, but that's fine, we'll get to that later. Okay, so after all of that, how does this fit in? It doesn't quite fit in quite well just yet, because we do have to make some adjustments. I've not cut this out completely to the size of this, because I wanted some left over, just so as we could kind of try and align things, really, which might have made it worse for myself. I believe this goes here like so, and obviously I haven't got any metal now to really hold it in, but I believe that's how it goes. Now if I just catch it in there slightly, there we go. Now, like I say, it's not fitting in exactly as it should, because you know, I'm just forcing it in there for the time being. What threw me, if I'm honest with you, what threw me was this thing here. I thought, well, surely that must go here and meet up with this panel. But fortunately, I've got my MK3 Cavalier with me, and I was able to have a look. And this actually does, it creates like a little bit of a shelf like that within the arch, like so, and it just literally just hangs there. I'll show you very quickly on the other one. It's not going to be the easiest thing to see, because the bumper is obviously still in place, but yeah, I'll show you that now. So just in there, you can just about see the lip I was talking about, and let me see if I can stick this light somewhere. You can see that it actually just comes across, and then it just goes down a little bit. It goes down to where my finger is roughly. Sorry about the camera movements there. I'll give you a view from underneath so you can have a better look. So that's, you can just about see there in the middle of the screen, you can just about see where that little bit of inner arch comes down. I'll see if I can stick my light somewhere and put my finger on it if I can. Right, let's try that, yeah. Right, let's see. Yeah, you can see just where my finger is there, you can see how that comes down and it just sort of flapping in the breeze really. That's obviously original, so that's what we're going to do. I forgot to mention actually, just up here where my fingers are, there is a big piece of sound deadening foam that does attach to or goes around the rear seatbelt mount. You can, I believe you can get to it from the inside there. It goes from here to here. I have cut into that slightly, but I've only just cut into it at quite a shallow, so it hasn't done any damage to it as such. So this is where you would gain access to that foam. I've got these wires hanging up on this piece of wire that you could just about see here, just to prevent me from cutting them. But to get to that foam, I believe we can get our hand into here and try and manipulate that out. Now we need to manipulate it out from inside here because we obviously need to pull it back in. I'm hoping we don't have to, might have to remove the oh, now I've got my hand stuck. Might need to remove the seat belt reel to get to this. Stuck. Oh, come on. Yeah, I think we're going to need to remove that. That ain't going to be a pain in the backside to get back in at all, is it? Where's the cut? There's the cut I'll put into it, so at least we get an idea of which way it goes in. It goes in like that, and looks like it's been squashed up for many years. There's the part number if any of you are playing along at home. Right, that's that out of the way. If you just look in there, you can see there's quite a lot of wax oil stuff, so that's something we're going to have to bear in mind when we start welding this back up. Might need to have someone on fire watch or something like that, or in my case probably just keep a close eye on it. So unsurprisingly, I was having trouble getting this to fit. It was fitting okay, but there was just a little bit of a gap that I weren't happy with at the top there. So what I've done is I've got the old piece here. I mounted it on the inside there, once I've got it lined up correctly. That sits in there. Now you can see that I just cut, because it's me, I've cut that little bit too much off of the top there. So what I'm going to do, I've got a plan. I think I'm going to clamp, I'm going to clean both of these up as best I can. I'm going to clamp this into here, and then I'm simply going to start cutting along here, and then as soon as it cuts a line, I'll be able to fold that little bit up and then weld the two together and do it as I go along. I think that's the idea anyway. I'm not too concerned about this bit here, because that's about the width of the cutting blade, and it will you need that 1mm gap anyway, so I might do the same down here. I'm not too sure yet. I think I might, because it should make it fit better, but yeah, certainly we're going to have to go all the way down here anyway, so it's annoying, but that's what happens. You can see how nicely that fits in there. It really does feel like this panel it feels relatively well made for a second-hand, well, for a aftermarket thing. Let's get these cleaned up. So that's that welded in now and ground back. I'll be honest with you, it's a total bodge, but it'll do the trick. It does seem to line up a bit better. I found where the old existing this part of the wheel arch, the existing wheel arch, I found where that lines up, and it seems to line everything up pretty well. So yeah, it was a pain in the arse having to do it this way, but it also come with the added benefit of being able to line it up exactly. Considering that this old panel went inside here. This one is a little bit bent up now because where I started welding it in, it did get sort of welded on in a couple of places. The majority of it come unstuck quite well, but one or two bits were really well welded, but we're not using that anyway, so that doesn't matter, that's out the window. So yeah, I might clean this inner arch up now, which you can't see, it's just off camera there. I'm going to clean it up with the wire brush. I might actually leave it for today. I think this is a good stopping point for the minute. On a positive, that fits, so yeah, we'll end it there for today.